I think that's good. All good to go. And Wednesday afternoon already, 3:20 p.m. Beijing time. I want to get this done a little bit earlier today, or go live a little bit earlier because I actually want to wash my hair. In order to wash my hair, I want to go for a run first. So I got to do the live stream. Well, I had to eat, then do the live stream, go for a run, come back and wash my hair. I know the problem. One of the simple things you could do if you want to solve that issue is to just cut your hair off, and then that way you don't have to wash your hair as much, or at least have to worry about as much care going into your hair care, basically. Anyway, today, so this weekend, we've already done a live stream on Chinese on Monday, and that was all about. I was doing some Chinese writing again. Chinese reading of the deltoid muscle. So you can take a look at that. San Jiao Ji is the muscle group. So that's your muscle group, your shoulder there. And then yesterday, on Tuesday, I did a Russian writing class where I practiced my typing, my keyboard typing, and my penmanship as well. Now, with Russian, one of the things, and I'm not sure if people who are studying English have the same issue. Like, I'm not sure. I remember mentioning this to my Chinese students, but maybe it's a little bit different for them because a lot of China uses the QWERTY keyboard. A lot of people use the QWERTY keyboard. Hey there, Danny, how's it going? And as a result, a lot of them might, since China uses the pinyin input method, using the QWERTY keyboard isn't such a big deal. But for me, learning, or for anyone learning a Cyrillic language where they are using the QWERTY keyboard, but then have to type in Cyrillic, that can be very difficult. So yesterday I was practicing my typing skills in Russian, using the QWERTY keyboard, but I had the virtual keyboard online. Now, if you're wondering how I type in Mandarin Chinese, it's a pinyin input. So it's a QWERTY keyboard input method on my cell phone and on the keyboard. But when you type in pinyin, or when you start typing the words, the characters populate above the keyboard. So if you like ni hao, NIHAO, it will start giving you characters to select from above the keyboard. But I can cover that in another episode for Chinese, show you the different input methods, which I've talked about before on the channel many years ago when I first started the channel. I think I talked about Chinese input methods, but it might be time to revisit that as well. Today, I want to look at some English stuff. And one website that I found very useful over the years is a website called EnglishPage.com. And they have, I think they've been around for a long time. And I'm not sure entirely who runs it. I think I've looked at it once before. Privacy contacts advertise with us. Who was it? I think I looked them up one time before. And the guy has like 3 or 4 websites that are all sort of similar in the sense that they, I don't want to email him. Nope. I want to privacy advertise with us. Doesn't give me an about page. I will show you the page that I'm on very shortly. Just got to get it set up here. Danny, why are you so up? Why are you up so early? Is it morning time where you are, or is it evening time and you're kind of watching this going, Steve's a good person to listen to while I try to fall asleep? It's pretty much how it works. It's midnight. Oh my goodness. So I'm guessing you're 15 hours ahead. You're on the West Coast somewhere. I'm guessing play it because I don't have a PC. I have a Mac, and so I can't do it. I can't play it, and I have no interest in getting a PS5 or anything. The only I didn't understand the Chinese. You can select English and Chinese. You got to go through the settings, and I was kind of wondering when I was watching the stream because we did actually last week we were working on a video for Black Myth Wukong, which is this new flagship video game that's been released in China, all about the Monkey King. And I was watching this gameplay, and there is a selection where you can use the Chinese words but English subtitles. And I was wondering if this game, part of the game, is going to inspire people to go learn Chinese. Um, well, it's not ancient Chinese. I mean, it's not all ancient Chinese. Chinese. Want to you would still be it would still be tough to understand a lot of it. They speak very quickly, I found, and in order to understand that sort of back and forth, uh, no, not mythical, but fantastical Chinese, you would have to have a high level of Chinese, but also understand the world that they're living in as well. And it's all based upon the Journey to the West book, which you can read in a simplified format, but and that would help a little bit. The one thing I forgot, like, especially with the story, you have to understand the whole setup of the story about who the Monkey King is in the first place. He's one of four main characters that takes place that go on a journey to the west. One is a monk, a pig, a monkey, and a tiger, I think it is. And the monkey becomes a Buddhist monk at the end. He's ordained or something like that. I think he's the only one. But yeah, in terms of learning Chinese, I'm guessing that someone will be able to create a video that will analyze some of the Chinese on that or in that video game. It's I wouldn't be able to translate it, to tell you the truth. If I was listening to it, I'm not sure if it'd be possible for me to listen and simultaneously interpret. It'd be a little bit tough. But hey, you know what? If it inspires you to keep on learning Chinese, then I think it's an interesting thing for sure. Because what makes someone learn a language? Why am I learning Chinese? That's a very good question. We did try to make a reaction. I was actually editing it, and I am horribly boring to watch when I watch a video game. We will publish it. I was editing it, and it was just one of these things. I'm looking at myself, going, all I'm doing is I'm watching the game because I'm so interested by it. I'm fascinated. Like, I don't play video games very much, and as a result, I just I don't know what to do with these games at all. Uh, but going forward, I was yeah. So hopefully this weekend we'll have the video out. It might next this weekend, next weekend. I want to do a video to sort of set up the Black Myth video game, why it is such a big release. I know that a lot of people have done reaction videos, and they're like, "Oh, wow, oh my god, that's awesome!" And when I was watching it, I'm like, "Okay, we got why can't you do this? Why can't you do that? Why do you have to go there?" And my big question, there's two questions I had about Black Myth Wukong game. Number one, the the I want to know if you could just go anywhere in the world, and apparently you can't. There's an air barrier. What's it called? Uh, 空气 mian, 空气 something. There's some an air fence in Chinese. They call it an air fence, I think, that prevents you from going off of the designated path. The other thing that I found with a game like Black Myth Wukong was that it's very cinematic, and they seem to promote that in the advertisements quite a bit. And I was kind of like, well, why? How much of this is real, and like how much of the cinematic advertisements would you be able to use and implement into the video game? That was my big question, because I know video games, although they've progressed over time, the way that you produce a video game and the way that you produce a movie, although they're slowly coming together, they're still very different. Like movies, especially the higher end movies, the tools and everything that they're using, the amount of time that they would spend, they wouldn't mind rendering out a file for days if it took to get the fur to look good. You look on the Monkey King's fur on that video game, and it's looks very authentic. It looks real enough, passable, basically. So that's high level uh, computer graphics and everything, but that's cinematic. How do you get that to work when you're playing a video game? You can't. It's very difficult to get a game to do that at the moment. So that was my big question when we were looking at the video game last week. Skyrim. Well, don't a lot of video games have Mandarin Chinese as a selection? I've tried to use my computer in Mandarin Chinese before, and I can't do it. At least not yet. It's tough. I should do it, but it's an advanced Mandarin Chinese practice, and it's I can work my way through a computer because I know the way around it. But if I go over to Chrome and I start selecting these different um, tabs and everything, like it'd be very difficult to pick out which one, like how to actually. I won't show you all my bookmarks or my history profiles. Yeah, there we go. Uh, so all these different parts of the, what do you call it? The selections, like the file. What's a file? What's open? What's close? What's a window? Tab. I guess how long would it take you to learn that? Would be a good question. Probably, possibly something that none of my teachers have ever done that, where they've never taken a screenshot. And I thought this would be a very good way to learn Mandarin Chinese, is to take a screenshot and then with that uh, learn the terminology. And no one's ever done that. I've never seen it happen. Hey, maybe it's an idea for what I can do here. But as for Black Myth Wukong, no, I have not played it. Again, I don't have a PC, so it's not something that's really on the radar for me to do at the moment. But today, I want to take a look at make it fun to learn. Yes, for sure. I want to take a look at this website because today's stream, I want to do a little bit about English teaching, about well, today we'll only do, I think, I was looking at this website, englishpage.com is the website that I go to when I am teaching grammar. And there are a few reasons for that. The biggest reason is the verb tenses chart that they have here, and they explain everything, which if you ever go teach English, someone's going to ask you a question of like, well, why is it I had studied and not I was studying or I was studied? Well, I was studied. You can be I was studied, but I was studied now puts studied as a noun or a gerundive, not as a verb. This is something you cover in the Delta course, where you learn how to parse the different parts of the sentence. I, subject, had, modal, studied, which is a gerundive, past gerundive, past participle, I think it is. Article, generic article, little, adjective, English, noun, before, time preposition, I, subject, blah, blah, blah. Moved, past tense of moved using the ed ending on the base verb, to infinitive, the article, United States, which is another proper noun, and direct object, to the. So in, or I moved to the, yeah, it's direct object. Insanity. But the one thing that what level of school do your students need to know this level of grammar? All levels. Because what I would do, I would, if not screenshot this, where you go Command Shift 4 on MacBook, but I would, at least for middle school, elementary, they might find it a little bit difficult, but you could grade the level of the verbs that you're using and make it specific or particular to your grade level. So I study English every day. You could do this part, simple present, present continuous, present perfect continuous. I study, I am studying, I have studied, I have been studied. Or you could also use this one. I studied present, I studied past tense, and then I will study. I am going to study in the future. I will help you study. They're using a modal there. Why are they doing that? uh, auxiliary verb. I will study in the future. I am going to study. And so what I would do, this is advanced stuff. I thought us Westerners went to China to teach everyday English. Yeah. If you want to stand out from the pack, having some stuff like this helps immensely. Having a few tools like this in your toolbox, giving an example. Typically, what will happen when you apply for a job, they will ask for a demo class or a trial class. Sometimes it'll be a video, like you could just do it as a video. I have been part of, well, in my, when I applied for my university position, I did a sample class with the administration. So two or three of the administrative staff sat down, they watched me, and I did a rundown of something. I can't remember what I did exactly. But with this, you don't have to do the whole chart. You do one verb, I study, then swap that out with something else. And nowadays with ChatGPT, you could literally take that sentence, pop that into ChatGPT, and have ChatGPT come up with a bunch of different, just change the verbs, and then you can change, you can select which ones are appropriate. The other thing that you could do if you want to make it a little bit easier on yourself, use Google Sheets, create 3 lines, three columns. First line, you put the example sentence. Second column, you put the like a verb, and the third column, you leave it I blank, and then fill in the rest of the rest of the sentence. I study English every day. I run every day. I read a book every day. So you have different verbs all in the simple present, and then you have those 3 columns that you could then use as a worksheet for your students. But ChatGPT would, this is what AI is good for. AI is good for doing, give me 50 examples of the simple present. Done. 25 examples. Done. And you can make that very quickly, very easily. What I have done with this chart, with this very chart, I have screenshotted it, or I copy pasted it, I can't remember, into a Word document. I blanked out the verbs. I blank English every day. 2 years ago, I blanked English in England. I screwed up my English in England. If you are having problems, I blank help. I blank you study English. I would actually swap that whole thing up. I blank 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 English. So because it'll be the simple future. You take that Word document, you blank out all the verbs. First, you run through it with the class. And then after that, you get them to work in pairs, and you can break apart each one. You can, okay, little Jenny, can you give me an example of the simple present not using this word? Okay, I what English every day. I read English every day. Yay, very good, little Jenny. I look at English every day. Okay, very good, little Tommy, and so on and so on. And with that, then you go to the simple past, simple future. You don't have to do the whole chart in one class. At university level, I would do the whole chart. High school, possibly the whole chart. Middle school, I would pick present, past, future, the simple, or maybe the present continuous, past, and future continuous. So just work on the ing forms or the ed forms. And then present perfect continuous, like these ones get a little bit more complicated because you have to add in so many other words, and the way that English is structured, it changes its verbs so much. AI can help your students with a bunch of grammar examples. How do they practice their conversational English? They like to come to your office and go, hi, teacher. How are you, teacher? And they keep on talking about, do you play video games, teacher? You're like, I don't have time to play video games. I'm marking your essays all day. They will usually the bad thing about some of the big classes in China is that anything more than 10 students, 12 students, it gets difficult to give them time to practice with each other. And so typically what they'll do, and they teach this in the CELTA course, Um, so the very first thing that as a teacher you run through an example of the chart. For example, you'd go through the simple present or the simple past. You give it a little bit of explanation. You give an example. You'd pick out the good student, ask the good student, uh, give me a sentence like this. Then you'd ask one of like the not so good students, give me an example, and they'll just copy what the good student did, which is good. It gives them a bit of confidence. And then from there, you go, okay, for the next minute, I want you to work in pairs and create 5 sentences that use the simple present, I blank English every day. And you give them 1 minute, 2 minutes or something, and they can work. I used to be very particular about them trying to only work in English, but it gets very aggravating because very difficult for the lower level students to do that. The higher level students can do it, but the lower level students would just sit there and be frustrated that we don't really know what to do, and the smart girl's sitting over on the other side of class. So how to get her answers when in a minute it's kind of difficult. But with that, you give them a minute, you let them speak their native languages or whatever to work on this exercise, and each come up with 5 different exercises or 5 different sentences. After that minute, then you call on each group. Okay, this group over there. What's one of the sentences that you guys got? Okay, I read English every day. Good, thank you. Next one, the smart group would be like, I watch English movies every day. Oh, look at that. You new verb and new noun in there. Wow, very good. Yeah, yeah. And then you go to the not so good group and you ask them what they're doing, and you go through that. You could write it on the board, and that would give them writing practice. You can get them just to speak it out loud. So with after that, if you've done the basic and they each have 5 sentences, you've reviewed it, correct any errors. After that, the next thing that you could do is get them to work in pairs again and combine the sentences. Now, the one way that you can change this is okay. So for this next part, I'd like you to all stand up and with separate from your partner. I want you to go find someone else who has not done something. So I want you to go, hello, I study English every day. What do you do? Oh, I watch English movies every day. What do you do? And so on and so on. And you can have each student go around the classroom asking the other people what they did in that sort of structured method. Now, typically, if you're going to do that, you'd also have to introduce the whole hi, how are you? What do you? I watch English every day. I speak English every day. What do you do? And then repeat that sort of standard conversation. And then that way they can get another little bit of conversational practice in class. In terms of overall, like using AI or grammar examples or practicing conversational English, uh, I've mentioned before that you're not going to really learn a language in class. So your teacher can only do so much. The class time is really only a test of your current abilities. And this isn't just for English, this is for any language that you're trying to learn. Mandarin Chinese, if you try to go, huh, Mandarin Chinese is a very good example of this. You will not learn Mandarin Chinese if you only rely on your conversational classes. It's just not going to happen. And I think that rings true for just about any language in the world. That in order to become better, conversational, fluent, not some master on your way to master, you have to get up and you have to do it on your own. So, in terms of practicing conversational English, do not think that your class will save them. It just won't. They will not at all go to your class and become fluent or proficient or better at the language. It's it that there's only so much you can do before the students just have to go do it themselves for themselves. The Chinese saying, I can't remember it in Chinese, the teacher can open the door, but the student has to enter, which is similar to the English saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. So if you are looking for a good grammar exercise to do with your class, you can make this verb tense chart on englishpage.com. They will appreciate the honesty. Years of experience, dude. Years of experience where you just sort of see it, and it's actually mm, challenge becomes not becoming cynical over it, but with using this verb chart. You can make it into a writing practice. You can do a speaking practice. You can do it a reading practice as well. Listening practice. You could have, if you were, well, if you want to do it on your own, you could record it, or you could read it out in class if you're not so much cheap, but if you didn't have time, you could read it out on your own. If you didn't want to use your voice, you could use a program like 11 Labs that would help. You can use that. I think it's 300 characters or 500 characters that would that you can use every time, and you can have it read out this chart, and that way you don't have to use your own voice if you want to sort of psych out your students. The one thing is, when you are, if you try to be a modern teacher and use technology to, you know, make your life a little bit easier, if you just record your voice, it can actually be distracting from what's going on in class, because like, you're there, your face is there, your voice is there, and if they hear a recording, they don't know which one is which. Like, is it live Stephen, or unalive Stephen? Pay. Recorded Stephen. If it is it live speaking Stephen, or is it audio recording Stephen? And that's where you need to probably be a little bit more. If I could, I would use something like 11 Labs or any of these speech generators that to change my voice, to change the output, and just copy paste whatever from the target language, target vocabulary, target grammar, put that into 11 Labs, have it read out, save it as an MP3 file. It doesn't have to be WAV. They don't care. It just needs to play back nicely over classroom speakers. Shuaibo, what is this? Shīfù lǐng, and I can't see this next character. Jìnmén, jìnmén, gōngfū在个人. Yes. Shīfù. I don't know that second character, my third character. Sorry, I'm going to copy paste this, pop this into the translate machine, and I'm going to get that actually done. Chinese simplified into English. Gèrén. 师傅领进门，功夫在个人. Yes. Yeah, I think you are absolutely right. That is what the saying is. So thank you for that. I appreciate it, Alex, for giving us that information. I'll put this over on the, oops, how do you work this thing? How do I move that window over here so you can see exactly what I just did there? All right. I think you guys can see that, right? Right. Good. So that's what Alex just popped up here. 师傅领进门，功夫在个人. So the teacher can lead you to the door, but you got to walk through on your own there, bro or sister. You got to do it. I mean, you're the horse. Remember, you're the horse. You can be led to the water, but you got to drink it. You got to put it down the guzzle, the throat. Anyway, enough of the sayings and whatnots. But so there you go. That's something that you can do, Danny, if you are looking to do a trial class in when you're applying for a job in China, or like South Korea, I think also does it. Japan might also do it. I know quite a few online places. Does italki requires you to do a sample lesson as well. Cambly, and what's the other one? Preply and Alternative Talker, I think, are the big wigs in the online teaching platforms. Italki is not accepting English teachers at the moment. So if that's something, same with Mandarin, it's not accepting Mandarin teachers. I don't think even Russian teachers. I think it's like you have to be speaking a very sort of niche. I can't remember. They do have on the italki website, they have an example, or they have a series of, or a list of languages that they are now accepting teachers from. And some of them, like the big ones, English, Mandarin Chinese, there's no more spaces for those teachers on the platform just yet. So you'll have to look somewhere else. Uh, Start a YouTube channel. You can do that as well. So in terms of, let's say someone want to learn English or Mandarin, how much time do you recommend on iTalki? Like an hour every other day? Not every other day, bro. No, man, every day. I wouldn't go for an hour though. To tell you the truth, I would do a half hour. I know one guy here in China. Oh, I don't know how he does it. I guess I did it before too. Uh, Getting up in the morning at 7 o'clock, he has a language exchange with another. Like he's English, she's Mandarin Chinese speaker, and so they language exchange every morning for an hour. On iTalki, oh, how do I put this? About a year ago, I started doing only half-hour lessons. And what I would do is I would find the cheapest and most available uh, teacher I could find. And by most available, I mean they could either start at 8 a.m. or earlier, and then they would also go very late. It had to be around 50 renminbi, so $10 Canadian, $7 American. And if they could do that, and if they could be a community teacher or a professional teacher. Typically, the professional teachers would not be 50 renminbi. And with that, I would pick out 2 or 3 teachers and I'd buy a package, usually 5 to 10 classes, usually 5 classes if they had, 10 classes if it was cheaper as well. And I would just do a half hour speaking with a different teacher like every day. I think I did that for months, or a couple months at least. It's not easy to do because, especially when you're just getting going speaking that language, you're still sort of stumbling over what your language. You're stumbling over not just the vocabulary, but making your mouth move in the way that the language needs it to move. Like si ji di zhong to focus. Well, di zhong well yao shui si well yao di zhong shui si zhong wen. I want to study. I want to focus studying Chinese. And then, so you got the vocabulary, the pronunciation. Then you have to worry about the grammar because the way that you're thinking in your native language and you're translating it using the words you know and the words that you can pronounce well might not be how that language orders the sentence or the words that they use. So for iTalki, give me a reason to get up if I had an appointment with the teacher. I mean, I tried. So with iTalki and lessons in the morning, I did that for a while, thinking I could hack. I did that with Korean. I did that with traditional Chinese character writing. And then I also did it with some Mandarin Chinese because at 8 o'clock in the morning, I would have a class that was before work. And then at lunchtime, if I didn't have a class, then I'd go for a run. So I'd do my workout at lunchtime. And then after work at around 4:30, 5 o'clock, I would usually have another class. And if it wasn't at 4:30 or 5 o'clock, actually, this language vlog has started to take up my time after work, which is fine. I don't mind that. If I didn't have it at 4:30, then I would have that class at around 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock p.m., sometimes 9 p.m. And so I would literally be functional in language learning for 12 hours. So 8 a.m. would be first class. I'd be reading Chinese or listening to podcasts throughout the day. And then at the end of the day, I would do another class as well. So in terms of like how much time on iTalki, oh man, I don't want to say as much as you can, because what you have to decide to do, and this is what the good students will do, is pick their battles in terms of what is cost efficient right now, how much time they have in order to get that done. Because keep in mind, when you have class, it's not just the class itself, it's the preparation to go into class, especially if your language is still kind of high key, if it's only okay. And then it's lovely to think that after your class is over, you're going to be like, okay, I'm going to get that homework done. I'll do it mashang. I'll do it right now. You won't, because after your class is done, you're like, oh, thank goodness it's over. Like, I need a drink. I need to go do something else. Or I have another class I got to go to, which is what university systems do. But so cost, time, and then how much, I guess, how much exposure do you want to the language online, like using italki, or would you rather meet people face to face? Do you have the chance to meet people face to face? And what else do you have to do? Basically, if you, it's all well and good to book a bunch of classes on italki, thinking that you're going to have a class at 8 o'clock, at 12 o'clock, again at 6 p.m. That would be super hardcore. Again, I would do that only half-hour classes. I would not be doing hour-long classes. I find my brain just goes wonky after a while, and mostly because in doing half-hour classes, it keeps both me and the teacher with an eye on the clock. We got to keep going. We got to keep moving. We can't sit around waffling. And to be honest, if there's a tech issue, I'm also very understanding. I think I'm very understanding that if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. No problem. If they want to start 15 minutes later, I'm like, I don't. Today I cannot do that. Like, if we set a class for 8 a.m. and then she shows up at 8:05 or 8:10 and says, "Well, can we start at 8:15?" I'd be like, "No, we can't. Don't worry about it. We can reschedule." italki is very good for that, and I've never had an issue with a teacher at all, to tell you the truth, in terms of rescheduling. I think it's part of the italki teacher monitoring system that they kind of watch which teachers are having rescheduled classes, or what are the reasons. So there's a lot of reasons for teachers to be very flexible in their scheduling. And I use Skype a lot, sometimes Zoom. So whether they talk, or like whether I very rarely use the italki classroom platform. They've improved it over time, but I still find it lags quite a bit. And Skype, given where I live in China, Skype works the best in a lot of different ways. So I just found that worked best. 25 minutes sounds good. Bathroom break, stretch out the next lesson. Wow. Well, okay, yeah. So if you're doing an hour-long class, 25 minutes, then a 5-minute break, then 25 minutes. Now, my issue with that was that I would actually rather just have a 30 minutes pure lesson, no breaks, and just keep on going. I used to do hour-long classes, and I used to teach hour-long classes, like a one-on-one, and it becomes face-to-face. It makes sense going to see a teacher for an hour and a half, and but you have to you have to have a good teacher who's able to take you through the lessons, and this might require you to have a good textbook as well, having a clear plan of what you're going to work on. Hello verbs over here, and then making sure that you're able to that the teacher is able to guide you through the lesson in such a way that your mind isn't wandering. And I will admit, as a teacher, I find that difficult. I know teachers who can do it, and they're phenomenal. I'll tell you, it's wonderful to be with a good teacher, and to see a good teacher. If you take the Delta, or even the Delta, the Delta, the Celta, any English teaching course, you'll come across some teachers who are very good at leading, at guiding the students through the exercise, like butter, like water through a stream. Basically, it's phenomenal to see, and it's something that I find a little bit. It's very taxing, to tell you the truth, like on your brain. And I think one of the good things about staying in a job for a long time is that you can develop a bit of a habit, and you can develop a little bit of a template, or reuse your materials over and over again. That makes it easier. It takes the offloads some of the work, the pre-work done, and then that way you can focus just on the class, and then of course any grading that you have to do as part of the job. Yes, tough to keep people's attention for long periods of time, isn't it ever? And especially so English, and I think learning Mandarin Chinese, if not exposed me to this. Mandarin Chinese is the second language that I learned as an adult, the other one being Korean, and that was 15 years ago. So Mandarin Chinese I've been studying for on and off for 10 years. I only got serious about it about 6 years ago. And if there's anything that's shown that vocabulary is important and that you only learn a language by putting in the time outside of class, Mandarin Chinese showed me that. It humbled me quite a bit. I didn't want to learn Chinese, to tell you the truth. When I came to China, I'm like, I don't want to learn this language. I don't care. I just don't care about the language. Don't care about it. I just wanted to work. I just wanted to focus on a job. It's just that when I started learning Chinese, I'm like, I'll learn a token amount of Chinese, and I did. It wasn't until I got my current job where I have client meetings a lot, and they're very repetitive, and that there's some just I want to do something a little bit more constructive with my time. So learning Mandarin Chinese was the best use of time and the most low key. Some people would read English books. That was all great and good. I'm like, but if I read English books, like what English books am I going to read? All the ones that I really want to read. I don't know if I'd be able to read during break time at my job, but I could. I could do the HSK course during my break. I could write out Chinese characters during my break, and so that's what I ended up doing. And that's what I recommend to English students as well. Is especially with a chart like this or vocabulary, to get a stopwatch and to time how long you study each study session. So if you have a job that has a typical sort of 20-minute break in the morning, 40-minute or hour-long lunchtime, and 20 minutes in the afternoon, if you have a stopwatch, you can use a clock. You don't need a stopwatch. Just keep a rough tally of how much time you spend in contact with your target language, whether it's reviewing vocabulary using Anki Droid or memorize flashcards, writing out, practicing your penmanship, which going back to what I mentioned at the beginning of this live stream, practicing typing on a keyboard or practicing handwriting. IELTS now offers computer and paper-based tests. Computer is offered in China and I think also in India. Not sure about the rest of the world, but some TOEFL, TOEFL, Teaching of English as a Foreign Language, TOEFL, which is put on by the TOEIC committee. That's all computerized. There's no pen tests, no pen and paper tests for TOEFL, but IELTS still offers pen and paper tests, which means that you have to practice your handwriting. And I can tell you from firsthand experience that some of the students, that Chinese students are some of the best writers of the English language in the world. Some of the worst would be Europe. I've seen some terrible essays submitted that way. And then in terms of length, I mean, it's that can vary from, the bare minimum of the IELTS essay, I think, is 250 words. Some people can write a lot more. Doesn't always mean it's good content, but making sure that your writing is very good. I kind of wonder that one of the reasons I failed the Delta Module 1 is because my handwriting is just garbage. And I was thinking of this, I was like, oh my goodness, which is another thing as an English teacher, you have to be aware of if you're giving written feedback, that you have to write in a method. You can't do the artistic PhD scrawl on the page and say, well, like the doctor, like the medical doctor, like, yeah, that's your prescription. And no one else can read it except the nurse is like, I think that's what this is. You can't do that as an English teacher. You have to print on the paper. This is very good. Did you consider looking at this resource to help you with your grammar? You have to write that out, print that out. Very clean handwriting. That's basically what it has to be. So practice your clean handwriting, which is another demand of the job. Of all things, Danny, you were asking about some of the qualifications of learning or teaching English in our previous conversations. Going back to this website, the reason I keep on referring back to this website is because it was so helpful when I first started, that this entire website deals with all of the stuff that you need to know. If there is one resource Like if you even for the CELTA or your ESL certificate, they will basically be taking all the information from this website. This is your all of your students will say that they have to work on their grammar, and it may or may not be true because it could be they might know some vocabulary, but then what part of the grammar is are they lacking in? And that's where you can have this website that's very good. I think it even has you can where I'm pretty sure there are tests. Where are the tests? Modals, listening lounge, prepositions, reading room. Is there a phrasal? There is something games. There, I can't remember where it is, but they had a test. You could test yourself on this. I can't remember exactly games. Okay, no, we won't be playing that game. Pop wordy. Well, let's see what that is. We are. Let's go advanced. Your goal is to guess the hidden word below and press a key to guess a letter. If you are right, the letter will be added to the banks. If you are wrong, the balloon will pop. Can you guess the word before you run out of balloons? Click the play button to start play. Oh. Oh no. No? Pa. Oh no. Oh, why did I press Q? M. Palm. Oh. Come on. What do I got here? Palm. No idea. G. Oh, bloody hell. Palm. Palm something. Primarily. Wow. Okay. Well, that's interesting game. I've never played that before. Should we do one more? Okay, one more, and then we'll. This is like just guessing letters. No E. O. P. M. L. No. N. Lampoon. No. Component. Compo. Compa. S. Oh, are you kidding me? Oh, why did I press that button? But what else would it be? Compo. Oh, bloody hell. Okay, well, this is for the kids anyway. It's for your students. Compo something. No. Compound. Oh, Steven, come on. Bloody hell. All right, well, thank you. Interesting game. Send your kids to go play that. Compound, yeah. Good job. Compound, the computer component. They had a list that you could fill in. I can't remember. One thing, you'll have a fun time trying to explain to your kids or what is a gerund? Gerund versus infinitive. A gerund is a noun made from a verb by adding ing. The gerund form of the verb read is reading. You can use a gerund as the subject, the complement, or the object of a sentence. So it can be anything. Reading helps. See, this is, I am reading, but I am reading would also be a gerund because I is the subject, am is an auxiliary, and reading is the gerund. But I have no idea. Reading helps you learn English. Her favorite hobby is reading. She is reading. So is she is reading is that the verb is or the verb reading? I enjoy reading. So enjoy is another verb, and it's acting as an auxiliary to the main or to the gerund of to this one. What, Stephen? What did you just say? I is the subject. Enjoy, I am enjoying, I enjoy, that is your verb, and reading is the gerund. So it's the object of the sentence. It's the object of the verb, enjoy. I enjoy reading. This is one thing that I have struggled with in my entire career as an ESL expat, that when a student says, I need help with my grammar, I want to learn more about grammar. I guess in my head, I was thinking, oh, that's what they want to learn. They want to learn how to use a gerund. Do you know what the gerund is, or a gerundive, which is I think is an adjective instead? Um, is it some? How much of the English grammar do you need to know in order to explain it to your students? In addition to this website, let's see if I can pull up another website here. Actually, I could probably Raymond Murphy, English grammar and use linguist. Oh, he's a linguist. I did not know he was a linguist. Pop that over here. So this guy, he is. This guy's books are also used quite a bit in the ESL circles. English grammar in use, English grammar in use. Yeah. So I think they're all this book has been around forever, and he's phenomenal. This book and this website, EnglishPage.com and English grammar in use. That's all you need for teaching English anywhere in the world, basically. Those are these two websites, these two sources would be more than enough. And if your students are like, well, I don't, can you explain it? And you're like, no, I can't. So let's take a look. What does the book say? What does this website say? That's basically all you do, because unless you want to sit down and try to explain why reading is a gerund here, but then I am reading is a verb, good luck. I mean, some people can do it. Great, good on you. I found that very difficult to do, very hard to justify learning about so I could explain it to a teacher. So, in terms of how much grammar do you need to know as an English teacher? Well, I don't know. I would say if you had a good textbook, I don't think you have to know as much as you fear that you have to know. English Grammar in Use, 4th edition, PDF. Really? So you can download a PDF. This is the rule. Follow the rule. Don't ask me why. Yeah, pretty much. That's what it says. That's because that's what the book says. We'll just go with what the book says. And you assume that the book is correct. Hey, look, you can get the PDF from the archive, Wayback Machine. Oh, neato. There you go. You don't even have to buy it. Hope I'm not breaking any laws by accessing this link online. Oopsies. Come on. Oh, wow, the full book. There you go. Well, fantastic, wonderful, awesome. When was this book published? 2015. So it's kind of still new-ish. It's slow. This book is phenomenal. This book literally will take you through everything. If you are ever wondering how to say something or how a sentence is made in English, like, and by I mean made in English, not the theoretical academic parsing of a sentence. Oh, well, this is a gerund and a gerundive and a blah, 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 blah. This book shows you how sentences are made, and it's phenomenal. And it's meant for students. It is a student-focused textbook. It's meant for both classroom study and self-study. I had one student, I was like, okay, she was telling me that she couldn't, her English articles, the, and nil, and as well, and the, and no article, zero article, weren't very good. So I assigned her 2 of the pages. She went through the whole thing and just did it for the next class. I was sitting there going, oh my goodness. Like I didn't even have time to look at the whole thing. It was insane. But I have found that Chinese students, not just Chinese students, there are some kids whose spoken English can be rough, but especially here in China, their reading and their listening is typically really high. So their reading is very good for whatever reason. They're just able to they're able to parse words a lot better than they're able to listen to words and then to speak the words. And I think part of the problem with that they have in terms of speech production, like speaking English and pronouncing words, is that they just don't have the same amount of time. They practice only on their own. Share the link in the comments. Which link? I'll give you both. Online English page for this one. And then this, and we'll see if the archive one, if that works. And again, that's Raymond Murphy. You can look for him. That will be spend entire semester conjugating words in Spanish in every tense. That should help, I think. Yes, I used to do that for Latin. I did it for French, Ukrainian, Russian. I still do it. Lots of conjugations. Very good. For conjugations, if you're not, I don't know if English has this, like a big book of English verbs, but a big book of Russian verbs, big book of I think it's the silver book of Russian verbs, or the gold book of Russian verbs, or French verbs. There's a series of these books that just have verbs, and they'll all have verb charts. I used to sit down and write down the declensions and the conjugations of all my Latin verbs that I came across. It was sheets, lots of trees were felled. And what's ink made out of? A lot of, not blood, but blueberry juice was spilled onto paper. Is that what pen ink is made out of? I have no idea. But I practiced a lot of conjugations. And I guess that's the standard sort of homework assignment. Write out your verbs, write out your nouns, your declensions, say them out loud as you go. But all this can be very boring. That being said, I think one of the shocking things, which really shouldn't be that much of a shock, coming to China and then finding out that some people have learned the language and they've never lived overseas, and they speak the language well. And we're talking like they're able to understand your complex, nuanced speech. Usually they spent years watching Friends, typically. The other movie series, Harry Potter is the new one. Die Hard used to be a film series that I remember one Chinese lady saying that she learned how to speak English from watching Bruce Willis in Die Hard. And she got the mother trucker word reversed, but we fixed that up and we sent her on her way. She said it properly after that. But Die Hard movie series, but then Friends seems to be the TV series that a lot of students learn from in China. And Big Bang Theory Big Bang Theory was up until about 2010, and then which one of them said something, and then they got blocked. My favorite is to recommend Family Guy, but that's high-level advanced English. X-Files. Yeah, X-Files is, X-Files wouldn't be bad. I think the content, though, would put off a lot of people. And it's one thing that you kind of have to be conscious of. It's the same reason why I would say Family Guy is, if you want to work on your English humor, forget about The Simpsons. Go to Family Guy, and that is proper, dark, nuanced, intonation, English humor at its finest. Simpsons would be okay. And yeah, I think actually Simpsons would be a good sort of family, or I hate to say it's family oriented because some of the subject matter isn't so great, but certainly better than Family Guy. Simpsons for humor, Friends for humor and for sort of how language was back in the day. X-Files, I don't know if they would understand. I don't think X-Files is, I don't know if they would be allowed here in China, to tell you the truth, because it goes down that whole idea of conspiracy theories and stuff that the country just is like, nah, we're not Area 51ing this shit. No way, not at all. No way. Keep that stuff out of here. But TV shows are typically where a lot of the students will learn their English. As a result, for some, they are able to do it on their own. Others feel the need to have a teacher to take them through it. All right, Danny, have a good night. Thanks for joining in. Hope those links work out. Let me know if they don't help, if they don't download or anything like that, and I'll send them to you through an email as well. Cheers. Have a good one. Have a good day. Have a good work day tomorrow. Sleep well. Sweet dreams. Righto. All right. And actually, with that, coming up to the end of this live stream, done an hour for this. I think so. Again, these two sources are very good for people who want to go teach English or who are looking to practice their English, especially this textbook, Raymond Murphy, English Grammar in Use. You can get any one of the editions. Now, apparently this, I'm just looking at the Internet Archive. I don't know why the PDF is available online, but I just searched for Raymond Murphy and his books showed up. So this one's very good. I would highly recommend getting that textbook and just assigning sheets of paper, each, whatever. You don't have to do it. You don't have to work through it straight front to back. You can pick and choose. And then in addition to using this one, the EnglishPage.com grammar index, this one, very good. Again, I've used it my entire ESL career. It's my go-to that has just been very good for picking verbs. Yeah, this will come up at some point where you'll have to explain what a modal is. Can, could, have to, must, might, should. And this is actually, to tell you the truth, one of the hallmarks or the signs that a student has advanced English grammar is when they are able to talk about modals or use modals in a sentence properly. Now, the way that some tests are scored, if they even just use the words, I can to read, I can to read, I can read, I am able to read. If they're able to produce a sentence like that, it demonstrates an effort or demonstrates an awareness of complex grammar or higher level grammar. And so sometimes they give them the point. You don't have to agree with that, but that just seems to be how it is. He can speak Chinese. Hey, he can speak Chinese, but is he able to? He can speak Chinese, but may he speak Chinese? I hated that. Can I go to the bathroom? You can, but may you? Hated that joke. It's such a no. Don't use that. That joke, that whole can and may division should be gone, done away with, and only used to demonstrate what kind of prude you are, what kind of uptight grammarian you are. Ugh, it bothered me. So using modal verbs would, I should, I could, I might, I would. I think, yeah, there. So let's see what they have for exercise. Right. Okay, this is not the exercise. We'll do modal exercise 7. Here it is. Found it. Here are the exercises I was talking about before, where I'm not really sure where Beverly is. She might be sitting in the living room. And so this is one great thing about the English page, where it has exercises like this as well. So on and so forth. All right, enough. Good. English grammar. I hope that was helpful. So 2 sources, EnglishPage.com, Raymond Murphy, English Grammar in Use, all that stuff, all that good stuff. Those are your 2 major sources that I would say any English teacher, anybody who wants to go teach English, get those 2 sources. Links are in the chat box, and I'll also put them in the show notes for this live stream as well. Thank you, folks, for joining along, watching, and participating in the chat. I appreciate it. That was fun. Let's do it again sometime. So I typically, my current schedule, hopefully for the next couple of months this semester, Mondays will be Chinese, Tuesdays will be Russian, Wednesdays will be English, and then Thursdays, Fridays, I think we might go back to publishing YouTube Shorts again. And then also on the weekends, I have been producing a podcast, which hopefully this weekend I am able to get my podcasting service hosting provider set up. And then that way you can access the podcast through all the big podcasting channels, Spotify, Apple, etc., and possibly even on YouTube. I think we'll be putting it there as well. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. It helped me out. Like this video as it helps the YouTube algo tell other people about it and suggests that I am doing something useful and helpful for people around the world. Thanks again, folks. We will do this again. Have a good one. And if there's any questions, concerns, comments, or things I can help you out with on your language journey, please get in touch and we will see what we can do. All right. Thanks again. Have a good one. Bye-bye.